Hi, I'm Father Chuck Peet, rector in the interim at St. Mark's on the Campus Episcopal Church in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you are joining another of the episodes in our teaching series called The Big Red Doors. I am accompanied here today by Opal Dare, who I soon recognized after coming here as an interim, one of those people in the parish that other people in the parish realized had allowed the faith that she has to move her to be someone who shares with others, who does things for others, both inside and outside of the parish. And so we wanted to gather a couple of such people to just talk about how our faith might motivate us, why we've done the things we've done in the life of the church and in the life of our families and neighborhoods and communities. And because Opal loomed large in the number of those that people felt were exemplars in this, I wanted particularly to put her on the spot and just ask her to share a little bit with us about what her faith history is and how it has moved her to do the kinds of things that she does in the life of the church and in the life of what surrounds the church. So where would you like to begin?
Yeah, well, I was raised in a church-going family. My dad was Catholic, my mom had converted. We all very much went to church. We were churchgoers. Went to church all through, was actively attending the Catholic Church all through college. And there was a point where came to part ways with the Lincoln Diocese of the Catholic Church and was unchurched for a while. And through a friend of mine, learned about St. Mark's and came here and found a home here.
And in the life of that home, then, what have you been prompted to do as your contribution, your practice of your faith?
There was one of the church staff, an administrator, was moving, and she put out a request she needed help with some things. And I started with watering the plants. and then I proceeded to work with the coffee hour after church. And then a while after that, to that point, Father Don said, well, maybe you should look at the altar guild too. And then eventually, I have filled quite a few roles. I spent some time on the vestry. I was a warden. Shortly after my vestry term, or during my vestry term, there was a need for more people to be part of the altar party. So I am a service goob, is what I call it. If something needs to be, if help is needed, I feel called to help.
And you have some skills that you've brought to some of the publication things and to things like the website here.
Yeah, actually it was a joy to me to be able to use those skills. I'm pretty competent at desktop publishing, and I hadn't really had much of an opportunity to use those skills for St. Mark's until in the last couple of years. And that was just, yeah.
Had those skills developed intentionally, or had you picked them up in connection with work, or how did you come by those skills?
I've always been sort of artistically inclined, and whatever I'm doing, it tends to creep into the artistic. I'll pull stuff in. And over years, many years with, especially the computer desktop publishing, was largely developed through my job, through work. But the sign out here, where I painted the sign, I've been making letters and designing letters since grade school.
So it is something that's emerged and been refined in your life. That's a kind of nice continuity. That's something you began doing, and we have an artistic granddaughter, and we're wondering where that will lead her in life, because once you have some skill or talent or interest that way, it seems to find its way into the things you do the rest of your life.
Yeah, the other thing that I've found, I'm not sure if I can describe it correctly, but I kind of discovered it in high school when I was working with my class to design, I don't remember, a float or, it doesn't matter what I was designing, but I find it very rewarding to work with other people to design an end goal. So like with the communications committee where we work together to come up with materials to let people know about what's going on at St. Mark's. That was just, it was just perfect fit.
Mhm.
So-
I have a friend who used to go to this church when he was on campus, who was back in England, which was his home, and he visited a church where the bulletin read that the study group B would meet in room A. And he sat there, a stranger to that church, thinking, I wonder what study group B is, and I wonder where room A might be. And sometimes in churches where we have our own vocabulary, the narthex or the undercroft, people get a little confused. And I've been glad since I've been here as interim to see so many things, trying to point people to where they might want to find something. And I know that the communications committee that we have here is very aptly named, and probably something that should be a standing committee at every parish. How do we communicate with ourselves and our visitors where we need to be? You also alluded to Father Don. Don Hanway was one of the longtime vicars here, and Don was, I think, very good at drawing people into ministries that they've valued since then. And I'm glad he's still with us and part of our life here. I'm glad you're with us and part of your life here, and thank you all for joining us for this episode of The Big Red Doors.